Hey everyone, how you doing today? It's Simon from CD Revivals. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different for you. I'm going to do a ranking video, band ranking video from their studio discography, and I thought I'd start today with Iron Maiden, pretty much the first metal band that I really got into, so it seems like the ideal place to start. So I know it's been done before, but why not do it again? So without any further ado, let's start with the Iron Maiden studio album ranking. And at number 17, there's 17 studio albums, and my least favourite Iron Maiden album is the X Factor. First album with Blaze Bayley came out in 1995. Let me just say, I don't hate or dislike any of the Maiden albums, but this one definitely is my least favourite. I think it's got some good tracks on it. Sign of the Cross is a brilliant start track. I think Man on the Edge is a really good track. There's some other decent ones on here, but it goes on too long, like way too long. I mean, you're like, when will this album ever end? And yeah, it gets a bit tedious, to be brutally honest with you. I've got no problem with Blaze Bayley. I think he's like a good vocalist. A big fan of his work with Wolfsbane, especially their first album, Live Fast, Die Fast, which I think is a superb album. So yeah, I think he's a good vocalist, but they replaced obviously Bruce Dickinson with Blaze Bayley, and what were they thinking, quite honestly? He's got a completely different range to Bruce, and it just wasn't really, in my opinion, you know, other people may disagree, but for me, was not the guy for Maiden. So I rank his, his two albums as my least favourites from Maiden, which brings me on to number 16 in the ranking, which is version 11 from 1998. I do prefer this one to the X Factor. I think it's it's certainly less long, so it's got that going for it. Future Real, I think, is a good track. Lightning Strikes Twice is decent. The Klansman obviously is a famous one. Yeah, When Two Worlds Collide, I think, is good. It's an okay album. It's it's decent enough. If you hadn't heard Maiden before and you went straight into this, you'd probably think it was maybe better, but you just kind of, I don't know, you just listen to the songs and you think it would be better with Bruce singing it. And the stuff that he's done, like Sign of the Cross, when he's done them live as well, it just sounds so much better. So I say nothing against Blaze, good vocalist, love Wolfsbane, and I think he's a nice guy and what have you, but yeah, the thinking behind replacing Bruce with him was, for me, not the greatest decision, but what, not a problem. Good cover though, always good covers from Maiden. This one, no exception, a good one, better than the X Factor as well, to be honest. Then we go to number 15, the 1990s, No Prayer for the Dying. And I remember I bought this on vinyl when it first came out and didn't love it. I really liked the single from it, Holy Smoke. I thought that was good, and it's a bit more back to basics. It's a lot more back to basics than their previous albums. Tail Gunner is an okay track, but it's just a sort of poor man's Aces High for me. The actual title track, No Prayer for the Dying, is really good. Public Enemy number 1's pretty good. The Assassin is, it's okay. Hooks in You, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, yeah, it's not the greatest. That's their only number 1 single, but it's not, well, it's okay, do you know what I mean? But it's not like, classic Maiden. Mother Russia, the epic on the album, is, that's probably one of the best tracks on here, but don't hate it. It's grown on me a bit over the years. When I first got it, I did not like it at all. I was, very, very disappointed. This is the remastered version, so it's not got the full cover on it. It's kind of clipped off for whatever reason, but so yeah, number 15, 1990s, No Prayer for the Dying. Then at number 14, we've got 1992's Fear of the Dark. I didn't even listen to this when it first came out because I was so annoyed with No Prayer for the Dying. So it was just like, do you know what, screw Maiden. But yeah, it's an okay album. It is actually better than No Prayer, and it's still a good album. Be Quick or Be Dead, I think it's a really good track. What else have we got on here? Glasses Are Required. From Here to Eternity, you know, it's poppy, it's singly. Afraid to Shoot Strangers is okay. It has got Weekend Warrior on it, which is, you know, complete garbage. Wasting Love's pretty good track. Chains of Misery's pretty good. Fear of the Dark, the title track's obviously, you know, an all-time classic which they still play live to this day. But this was kind of, yeah, Maiden, I don't know, they'd sort of lost their way a bit. And obviously Bruce left after this album, so he obviously agreed, and he went on to make some like really good solo albums. So yeah, much better than what Maiden were doing at the time when he did his Chemical Wedding, etc., which was a really good album, and also Accident of Birth. But anyway, Fear of the Dark, number 14 in the ranking. The next one I've got in the ranking is their most recent album, Senjutsu, from 2021. This is like the book version, deluxe, not the super deluxe. I wasn't rich enough for that. But yeah, once again, I was a little bit disappointed. I was very excited for this album, and when it came out, I played it a lot, and I think it's a little bit dull in places. I think it just goes on once again. But saying that, the last 3 tracks, Death of the Celts, The Parchment's probably the best track on here, and Hell on Earth, you know, it's a strong finish, if you like. So yeah, Darkest Hours, alright. Senjutsu, first track, it's okay, you know, it's not, nothing's bad on the album, it's just does go on a bit too long. Well, I don't mind a long album, but as long as it's not too tedious. Writing on the Wall was a bit of a departure for them, but you know, a good single. Lost in the Lost World, I'm not a great fan of. Days of Future Past, okay. Time Machine, yeah. It's, you know, not a bad album by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, they've done a lot of good albums, so for that reason, Senjutsu sadly is in 13th place on my ranking list. Number 12, I have gone for 2003's Dance of Death. This is the second album they did after Bruce returned, and yeah, I liked it when it came out. You know, I thought it was, you know, a good album. Some really good songs on here. Wildest Dreams, Rainmaker's really good. What else we got? No More Lies, fantastic track. The actual title track, Dance to Death, is an interesting, whimsical, but still, you know, a good Maiden, you know, track. Monsegur is a good track. Passchendaele, probably best track on the album, really good. Yeah, I mean, they're the pick of the tracks on there, and it is a good album. Atrocious cover, like, just what? But yeah, a good album. Yeah, a decent one. So that is number 12 on the ranking, 2003's Dance of Death. Next one I've got at number 11 is 2010's Final Frontier. Gets a little bit of crap, this album, to be honest. People say that it's not very good. I do like it. It's long, once again, but I think it's got a bit more variety than Senjutsu, for example. Satellite 15, The Final Frontier, opening track, certainly, you know, different, the opening, than you're used to. Final Frontier is a really good track. El Dorado, really good. Mother of Mercy, you know, chorus grates a little bit. Coming Home, I think, is a superb one. The Alchemist's a good one. Starblind, really good. Talisman, and you've got When the Wild Wind Blows at the end, which is the epic, sort of ridiculously long track. But yeah, solid album from Maiden. Final Frontier, you know, a lot of people thought it would be their last album, but obviously they've done 2 since then. But cover, you know, it's a thing. It's alright. It's Maiden cover, you can sell that, but you know, I don't know, they've made some sort of Alien Eddie. It's not the best, but still a solid album. Number 11, Final Frontier. Then I have got at number 10, 2000's Brave New World, which was Bruce's comeback, and you know, a good comeback. You know, it was yeah, it came out, everyone was like, well, you know, it's a return to form, much better than the Blaze era. A lot of tracks they still do to this day. Wicker Man, good opening. Ghost of Navigator, great track. Brave New World, great track. Blood Brothers, great track. Mercenary, Dream of Mirrors is, you know, solid, really good one. The Nomad, good. Out the Silent Planet, yeah. So, you know, not many duffers on here, to be honest with you, if any. But just I, you know, prefer other Maiden albums, which, you know, you may think, oh, 10 is low in the ranking, but, you know, what else is above it? Great albums, to be honest. So, number 10, Brave New World, 2000, Return of Bruce, solid album. Then I have got, and this might be a bit of a shock to some people because it's a lot of people's favourite album, is 1988, sorry, Seventh Son of the Seventh Son at number 9. I do like a lot of stuff on this album, but I think it's half and half, good and, you know, shit. Well, maybe shit's a bit strong, but mediocre. Moonchild's great opening. Infinite Dreams, yeah, good track. Can I Play With Madness? No. Just, it's alright. It's not the sort of track that you can listen to over and over again and think, oh yeah, the stuff I haven't heard there is just kind of basic. It's, you know, it's not awful, but it's, you know, come on. Evil That Men Do is a good track. Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, title track, fantastic. Head and Shoulders the best track on the album. And then The Prophecy, The Clairvoyant, and Only the Good Die Young. I think they're just kind of end of out filler for me. You know, they don't really do anything for me personally. So, you know, you've got like what, 1, 2, 3 standout tracks, which are Moonchild, Infinite Dreams, and Seventh Son. And you've got Evil That Men Do, which is decent, and then the rest of it, quite honestly, I would skip. It's, you know, it's fantastic cover, you know, brilliant. And they were, you know, a lot of people say they were in their peak of their powers, but for me it's not. It's half and half. It's not the best album for me, but, you know, let me know what you think in the comments if you may completely disagree, and everyone's got their, you know, own opinions, and that is fine. Number 8, I've got their self-titled debut album. This is the remastered one, so it's not the original cover. They, you know, I don't know why they felt the need to redo it, quite honestly, but they did. I had this on cassette back in the day, and yeah, it's strong, you know, for a first album, absolutely superb. Prowler, this one's got Sanctuary on it, which is, you know, a welcome addition, so that's a really, really good track. Remember Tomorrow, fantastic. Running Free, you know, it's basic, it's a single, you've heard it a million times, they still play it live, it's, you know, it's Running Free. Phantom of the Opera, superb, best track on the album, hands down. Like the middle part of it, the breakdown, yeah, outstanding. How were they doing that at that time? I don't know, it's just amazing. Transylvania, good instrumental track. Strange World's a bit of a weird one, but it's really, really good. And you've got Charlotte the Harlot and the title track Iron Maiden, which, you know, once again is a bit basic for what Maiden do these days, but still, you know, it's a banger. They close the show with it more often than not. So, yeah. Number 8, self-titled Iron Maiden, good album, brilliant start. Yeah. Number 7, I've got A Matter of Life and Death from 2006. Another long album from Maiden, as most of their stuff is these days, you know, long tracks as well. But yeah, lots of like on this one. Different World, These Colours Don't Run, Brighter Than a Thousand Suns, The Pilgrim, Longest Day, Out the Shadows, Reincarnation of Benjamin Breed, which was the lead single from that, and that's, you know, probably one of the better ones as well. For the Greater Good of God, Lord of Light, The Legacy. Not really many duffers on there. It is a long album. It takes a little bit of getting into, you know, you have to, you know, work at it, but for me, yeah, a really good, and that's why it's at number 7 on my ranking. 2006 is Matter of Life and Death. Number 6, I have gone for 1981's Sophomore, their second album, Killers. Iconic cover, you know, as a kid you're like, ooh. So yeah, Killers, the second album with Paul Di'Anno on vocals, and yeah, an excellent album. Starts off with the Ides of March, really brilliant intro. Then you've got Wrathchild, goes straight into that, and it's just like, you know, you're in for a good time. Murders in the Rue Morgue, great track. It's got a couple on here that are like not as good as others. Probably things like Drifter, I don't know, but Twilight Zone's okay. Purgatory's really good. Killer's great. Innocent Exile, yeah, superb. Genghis Khan, another instrumental. But yeah, well worth listening if you recently new into Maiden and you've like not bothered with the Paul Di'Anno stuff. This one and the first album, to be honest with you, don't skip them, man. They're top notch albums. So yeah, number 6, 1981's their second album, Killers. And the top 5 are kind of tricky, but you know, this is the way I've ordered them. And at number 5 I've got 1982's Number of the Beast. Yeah, it's tricky to put this at number 5 because it is obviously a classic, iconic album with many great tracks on it. I'm probably a little bit numb to it just because I've heard it so many times, but still, and it's got a couple of like filler-ish tracks on it. Invaders is it's okay, and obviously Gangland, People Slate, but you know, they're both okay, you know, decent tracks. Children of the Damned, Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, the title track, Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, which, you know, probably no one ever needs to hear again, but still, you know, you kind of think back to when you first heard it, and it's a great track. And finishing off with Hallowed Be Thy Name, which is one of their all-time, you know, best songs. Yeah, top to bottom, just a really good album. Iconic front cover. Once again, you're a kid looking at that and you're thinking, yeah, I need this band in my life. Number of the Beast then, number 5, 1982. Number 4, which once again might come as some surprise, I've got 2015's Book of Souls. Obviously it's their second to most recent album, so people might think, you know, oh really, and you know, it's long as hell, you know, so once again, you know, but it doesn't go on. I think every track once again is really good. Eternity Should Fail, Speed of Light, Great Unknown, Red and the Black, I mean that's a long old track, but it's great. River Runs Deep, Book of Souls itself, amazing. Death or Glory, Shadows of the Valley, Tears of a Clown, written about Robin Williams, not Robbie Williams, but Robin Williams. Man of Sorrows, and then Empire of the Clouds, which is Bruce's, you know, 20-minute, you know, but it holds up, man. It's like an excellent album. I think easily their best since, you know, Bruce returned, which was obviously quite a long time ago, 2000, but for me, 2015's Book of Souls, I've got it at number 4, and yeah, it's long, it's good, it's got a lot of stuff to get your teeth into, just a brilliant album, you know, good cover as well. So this is the book edition, once again, the deluxe one, so yeah, excellent. Number 3, I have got 1986's Somewhere in Time. Great cover, and a great album, which took a little bit of getting used to, quite honestly. They had a bit of a break between Powerslave and this one, where they did obviously Live After Death, so there was a couple of years break, which for Maiden in the early 80s was quite a long time. You know, now they take ages between albums, but yeah, this one is a good album. They started to develop a little bit of a different sound, guitar synths and what have you. There's less shorter tracks on there, they're all pretty long. Caught Somewhere in Time, Wasted Years, this lead off single is great. You know, iconic guitar, you know, work on there. Stranger in Strange Lands, the second single. You got Heaven Can Wait, you got Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, and you've got not Mother Russia, what am I talking about? You've got Alexander the Great, which is a, you know, underrated track, long track, and yeah, superb, really good. But yeah, it took me a little bit of getting into Somewhere in Time, just because it did sound different to their previous work with the guitar synths and what have you, but Yeah, it's grown now. It's my third favourite Iron Maiden album. 1986's Somewhere in Time. Top two are, well, you know what they are by now, I guess, but they were tricky to separate. Both very sentimental albums, and I've gone for number two. I've gone for 1983's Peace of Mind. Yeah, let's say very tricky to separate the top two. This one was the first sort of full length. When I first got into Maiden, Flight of Icarus had just come out as a single, and then this album came out, and you know, me and my buddies, we were all sort of starting to get into metal at around the same time, and yeah, this was the, you know, the dog's business basically, and you know, got listened to a lot, and with, you know, good reason, because this, you know, the start of the album, like Where Eagles Dare, going into Revelations, going into Flight of Icarus, Die With Your Boots On, The Trooper. I mean, come on, you don't get a much better side one of an album than that. It's just pretty much flawless. Still Life starts off side two, which is another good track. Quest for Fire, you know, it's got the cheese element. Sun and Steel is a good track. Entertainment finishes it off, which is, you know, an epic sort of, you know, I think it's about the Dune books / film. But yeah, top to bottom, like an amazing album. Iconic cover, you know, Eddie's had his hair shaved off by this point, and he's in the padded cell, and it's just an amazing album, with very few weak low points on it. But say side one is probably as good a side one as you'll get on any album ever, anywhere. So yeah, number two, 1983's Peace of Mind. So you all know which is going to be the number one album. For me, is 1984's Powerslave, and I always kind of knew that this was going to be number one. Once again, when this came out, yeah, minds were blown. 2 Minutes to Midnight, the lead single, incredible. Aces High, the second single, incredible. And yeah, it's just got so much to love about it. The title track, Powerslave, is an amazing track. And you've got Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner on air, which is, for me, my favourite Iron Maiden song of all time. So yeah, Flash of the Blade, you've got The Duelist is just, you know, yeah, it's a strong. Back in the Village I love as well. It's just like a real heavy, fast track. Pretty much flawless, I say, with my favourite Iron Maiden song of all time. Iconic, like cover, superb. So yeah, for that reason, that's my number one. Will always be my number one Iron Maiden album. I don't think they're going to top that ever. So yeah, number one, 1984's Powerslave. And that concludes my Iron Maiden ranking discography. Let me know in the comments below whether you agree or disagree with any of my choices. I'm sure you do. Everyone's got their favourites, as I say. If you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. I've got some more ranking videos to do, and I've got some more CD collection rating videos to do as well, and we'll see what else as well. But hope you all have a great day. You take it steady. Cheers.